In this tutorial, I'll be going over modding NBA 2K16, more specifically how to do things like make mascots and then fix certain mascot files, wear clothes on all the players in the game instead of only being able to wear them on your My Player, showing off how Jumpshot Landings were made, showing cheat engine tables and how to use those to create custom scoreboard colors, change the logos, and more. This tutorial is mainly for people who want to mod the offline Blacktop side of 2K16, but some of these things can apply for modding not only NBA 2K16, but other 2K games as well. I just really wanted to focus on the offline Blacktop part though, because there really isn't much info on those mods, like at least publicly. So I really did want to go more in depth on that side of the game for these tutorials. So there are multiple sections in this tutorial that are going over different topics, and I'll have all the timestamps on the screen and in the description, so you can just skip to any section you want, because this is a pretty long video, so timestamps are necessary. I will say I didn't make a script or anything for this tutorial. Everything was done just like live commentary on the fly, but I tried to speak in a way that's clear and understanding for anybody that's watching. So hopefully this tutorial can end up being helpful for anybody that wants to know any information on these topics that I go over in this tutorial. That's the whole reason why I made this tutorial, because some of these topics I go over, there's just like either like very minimal information or there's just no information on them at all. Before we get into that first section, I would first like to go over the things you would need for some of the sections of the tutorial. First, I highly recommend playing on patch 6 over any of the earlier patches. From my understanding, most of the people that play this game, like offline Blacktop, they're on patch 1. I know patch 6 removes speed boosting, but if you use this animograph dribbler file on your Ruggle or modded folder, you can add speed boosting back into the game while still being on patch 6. This file will be in the Discord, the Cleaner City Discord, of course. Now, the reason why I say you should be on patch 6 over the earlier patches is because you gain access to the extra SIGs when you go to edit a player. For whatever reason, when 16 first came out, even on console, they didn't have the option to select these extra SIGs outside of my career. And another big reason why I recommend patch 6 is it's needed for the cheat tables to work that I'll be going over later in the cheat engine section of this tutorial. The programs and tools you will need are Lamono, 2K17 Explorer, Blender for fixing certain mascots, Hex Editor for changing Blacktop scoreboard names, 7-zip to open .aff archive files, and Cheat Engine for patch 6 Cheat Engine tables. Links for all of these will be in the description, of course, and all the files that I either made or showcased in this video can be found in the Cleaner City Discord, which will also be in the description. Make sure to join the Discord. Now let's start with the first section of this tutorial. Okay, to import these clothes in, we're going to open up the Explorer here, 2K17 Explorer, even though it's 2K16, because the 2K17 Explorer works better than the 2K16 Explorer. Like, it's a bit buggy, so I recommend using the 2K17 Explorer. When you open the Explorer, you go over to Preferences. You want to select the game directory of your NBA 2K16 with this. And then the archives you want to select for the clothes, you really only need OB and 1K. That's where the majority of them are stored. Now if you click those, you want to click Save Settings. And then you want to come over the file and click Load Archives, and it's going to load up the 2 archives. So now that the archives have loaded, we want to export out the files of the clothes that we want. Now since this is just a tutorial, I'm only going to be exporting out 1 file instead of like a bunch of clothes, because it's just a tutorial. Like, I'm just showcasing you how it's done. To find the file name of the clothes you're looking for, you're going to need to head over to your manifest file, a notepad. I'm going to click Control F for the find function, and let's say we just want to look for like a puffer hoodie or something, puffer jacket. Type in puff, find. As you'll see, a bunch pop up. This little numbers and letters to the left, that's the archive it's located in. As you can see, it's the 1K archive that we loaded in earlier. And let's just say we want the white puffer. We see the file name, clothing item jacket puffy white. Just gonna copy it, go back to Explorer, head over to 1K, paste it in. There it is. You want to right click it, click export archive, and then I recommend just making a folder to store these in. You see, I have a bunch of clothes in here. And you're gonna click save. It's gonna say replace because I've already stored it here before. Like I've already exported out this file. So now you want to find the file name of the accessory you want to replace. In this case, I want to replace the elbow brace. So we'll head over back to manifest. And we'll go through here, go through the find function again. We'll just type elbow, find all, and as we'll see right here is stored in OB, clothing item, elbow brace, left. Obviously the L is left and R is right for these files. So you just do the same thing, click copy, go to clothing item, elbow brace, which is right here. So right click it, and what I recommend doing before you replace this, I recommend exporting this out into like a backup folder and something, just in case you need to like retrieve this file back, or like put the file back in elbow brace or whatever accessory you're replacing. If you don't do this, and like say you mess something up or something, or like you just want the elbow brace back, you're gonna have to reinstall your game or like reinstall your OB file. I just recommend backing up the file, you know, before replacing it. I recommend doing that with any file you're replacing in these archives. But after you've backed it up, you want to click import archive, find the clothing file you exported, which is the puffer jacket. You click import, and then after that you click apply changes, and then it's gonna apply the changes. It might take a little minute. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's not. But no matter what, you don't want to like close out of this or anything. It will mess up your game. You may have to end up reinstalling your game files. So just let it do its thing. When it brings you back to like the first archive loaded, that means it's done applying the changes. You can now close out of Explorer, or if you're importing more files, then you would go and import more files, of course. That's all you have to do to import the files. And now you would go into the game and then see if that file got replaced. So pretty quickly I'll go over seam blanking these jersey shorts files. So in this instance we'll be using the jersey _u_ baked file, which is just all jerseys with a U-shaped collar. You want to take the file, open the archive of it in 7-zip. You'll see there's a bunch of scene files. You're going to need all of these. Just select them all like that, drag them out, and what I recommend, just select all of them, right click them, click edit with Notepad++, and we'll go full screen here. It's about 54 files that it opened up. What we're looking for in these files is the prim with the jersey mat count right here. Now, when you make this number 0, it makes the jersey disappear, which is what we need for these clothes to show up without the jersey being in the way. Because on 2K16, everyone's wearing an NBA jersey and Blacktop, so we need that jersey to be gone, so it's not in the way of the clothes, like the shirts and all that. So in all 54 of these files, you're going to have to make the count 0. Because as you can see, these are all like different body types. So like you could do only the thin files, but then if you go with a player that doesn't have this body type, they'll still have their jersey. So that's why you have to do it for all of these files, or at least what I recommend. So what I did, there's probably a faster way of doing this, but I just did count, and then I did find all and all open documents, and then I just went through and made all of these 0. Obviously, I've already done that. I will not be doing that again on recording. In all honesty, like I just recommend just downloading the file I provided. Like I'm gonna provide files for this, but for the sake of this tutorial, like I did want to explain like how this worked. Like how are the players having clothes without the jersey being in the way? Like as you can see in the files that I made, we'll do find all. Like you see, I made the count 0 for all of them. Like this is how you disappear the jersey for every body type. Probably asking like, why did I do the U-shaped jerseys? The main reason why I did the U-shaped jerseys is because all of the teams for 1990, they all wear U-shaped jerseys. So combine that with the retro shorts being all of those teams, it just allows me to put like all the players on those teams and have all of them not have the jersey and the shorts. Like if you really wanted to, yeah, you could do every jersey type in the game or every short type in the game. Actually, you cannot do every short type in the game. If you do the main shorts file, you won't be able to wear regular shorts, like even like park shorts, the cargo shorts, all of those. You won't be able to wear none of those. That's why I don't recommend doing the regular shorts file and only doing the retro shorts file. Okay, for the shorts, it's the exact same thing that I mentioned with the jerseys. They have a bunch of scene files for the body types. You would go through with Notepad, edit out all the count numbers to 0 for them. And for shorts, there's 3 files: shorts classic, shorts retro. I prefer to do shorts classic because, like I mentioned with the U-shaped jerseys, all the teams that are before the 90s and some of the teams in the 90s, like the early 90s, they use these shorts. So if you blank them out alongside the U-shaped jerseys, all of those teams, you can put shirts and pants on freely without the shorts or jerseys interfering. The shorts file, I don't recommend blinking it out because then you won't be able to wear any shorts, like cargo shorts or just any type of shorts that you're trying to put on your player for clothes. You're not going to be able to wear them. That's why I don't recommend doing them. The only time I'd recommend blinking out the shorts file is if you want to wear pants in the my court, because you're my player, he plays for a regular NBA team. If you blank this out, it'll blank out all the shorts for the NBA teams and you could wear pants in my court. That's the only time I'd recommend blinking out this file. Now, once you have these 2 files, whether you made them yourself or downloaded them with the ones I provided, which is just honestly what I recommend because it is kind of tedious to change out all these scene files. Once again, like I did just show them just for like tutorial sake. You could just copy them into Wagua. You don't have to import them in the archive. I already have imported in, obviously, but just for tutorial, like I'll put them in the game. There are like a lot of files like court files, cyber faces, some jersey files that you don't need to import and archive. Like I believe the only files in this game that need to be imported to archive were like the clothes, like I showed earlier, and the fucking logos and maybe some other shit. But other than that, like everything else can go to Wagua. Okay, now we're back in the game. We want to go over to a team that has the blanked out files, which let's do this player right here. Go over to his accessories. And we're trying to take off those we already have. And since we did it on the left elbow, it should be on this brace, and as you see it is. Don't mind the textures being messed up. This is just due to my shader detail being on low for the mascots. put the shader detail on high real quick. Go back to that player. Now you see it's textured a bit better. But if you're using Mascots, you're gonna want that file, the setting on shader detail low. Yeah, that's how you put the clothes on the players. And you see, like, we'll just scroll through. It's like some of the stuff you can wear together, but some of it you can't, like forearm band, like you can't wear it together with left elbow. So like, if I had forearm band as like some sort of pants or something for the left wrist, like I wouldn't be able to wear it with this long sleeve white shirt. That's why I say be mindful of what accessories you replace. Like what clothes with the accessories you replace. Just be mindful of it. Okay, now we're going over mascots. How to make mascots. The rules behind editing the mascots is there's certain things you can do and certain things you cannot do. Everything. We'll be going over all of that in this part of the tutorial. So to start, we first need to export our mascot out of the game, which define the mascot file. So I head over to manifest, Control F, and just type in mascot. As you will see, a bunch of them will pop up. All of these right here in the 0D archive, these are college mascots. The number here, that's the team ID. So if you're looking for an NBA mascot, just look for the team ID that it is. And if you're unfamiliar with any of the team IDs, in the description below I'll provide a link that has like all the team IDs. But for this tutorial, we'll start off with the Spurs mascot, which is mascot 25. As we can see, it's in 1B archive, so I will need to open up Explorer, go to my preferences, enable 1B save, load the archive. As you can see, 1B is here. We will just type in mascot. Here we have mascot 25, which is Spurs mascot, the Coyote. And now we want to find a place to export it. Export in this folder. After it's exported, you can close out of the Explorer. So here we have the mascot file exported out. Now this file, you can't just drag it into Waggle or mod it and then bam, you have the mascot like that. That's not how this works. You need to convert this file into a usable file, which would be a cyberface file from an NBA player. And you would then put that cyberface onto the player. And I've seen this tutorial, I'm gonna show you to do that. So we'll open the archive real quick. You see this has all of the textures, the scene file for the mascot. We're gonna go ahead and extract this out with 7-zip, of course. So you see we'll have everything. What we'll be doing is taking these files, like this is basically the color file, the skin file of the mascot. You know, it has his face, eyes, his skin, all of that. We have the hair file, the jersey file, and then the shoe file. Be taking these files, we'll be renaming them and editing these txtr files as well to apply these changes. So now we need to find an NBA cyberface to use. So we'll come back to the Explorer. In the Discord, I will have a list of like all the cyberface IDs provided, but we need to go look for a cyberface to use for this Spurs mascot. So let's just say I want to use Kevin Love's cyberface. I would just go type in Kevin Love, and we'll see it's 1511. And now we're gonna go into manifest and just search 1511. Honestly, you see a bunch of files pop up. If there's like a bunch of hits like this, then just put PNG in front of the number, and there. Now found where his PNG file beside where face is stored. It's stored in 2Z, and then you do the same thing for the face file. As the face file, a lot of the times will be stored in a different location. So yeah, the face file is stored in OH. So in my Explorer, I need to have OH and OZ, not OZ, 2Z checked and loaded, of course. And now I'll just type in Kevin Love's Cyberface ID, find the face file, just go ahead and export it out. I like to make folders just separating everything. So we'll just do Kevin Love 1511, and then we'll just give the mascot its own folder as well, like for its original files. I really shouldn't be moving them in here, but it doesn't matter. It's 1511, and then same thing for where the PNG is stored. Go and find it, export it out, and we can close the Explorer now. Come back, go in the folder where we exported these files out, quickly extract them, and now here are the exported files. From these, we will be needing the appearance info, RDAT, the hi-hat scene, and that's it from these. And then for the face, you're going to need the name of the face color. That is a rule of when you're editing mascots, is the face color name has to stay the same. Literally everything else, like the hair color name, jersey name, all of that, like the numbers at the end, they can stay the same, but the face color, the whole, like the numbers at the end of it, they have to stay the same, or else the mascot will not work. So what I like to do, I'll make another folder and just name it Converted Spurs. And what I like to do, I like to have multiple windows up. One window being the original mascot files, and then another window being where we're going to port the files. And what you can honestly do here, you can just copy all of these into here and paste them in here, and we're just going to delete everything that's needed. What I like to do with like the IFF, I like to clear it out for later. But remember, I said there's files that we need to keep. The first hi-hat scene, like with no numbers next to it or anything, and the appearance of that, but everything else can go. And then for the face, remember what I said about the having the same name. So I'm gonna keep this window open. We aren't gonna clear out the face IFF yet. We're gonna keep this window open. We're gonna go into this face file. For the mascot, all you need in the face file is this color file and the color text. Put that in there, and then, like I said, we're gonna take the face name from the face file and rename the color, the mascot color file, to this, and then rename this color OTXT to this. And then you now want to go and edit it. We'll just edit it in regular notepad for this instance, it doesn't matter though. Change color O to face color, and then change this binary to the file name of the face color that you just copied from this. This is a must for all mascots. It has to be the same name as the NBA player's face color, or else it will not work. Save it, and now the face is done. The face, that's like I say that's probably the easiest one you can do. Get it done pretty quick. Now we want to come over to the PNG. We have our hi-hat scene. Oh, and we can clear out the face IFF now. For this mascot, we have jersey, hair, and shoes. So we will be taking those files as well as the TXTR, whatever the fuck it's called, with it as well. And then we'll also need the player model, or in this case, the mascot model file, this hi-hat math notes file, and then the mascot hi-hat itself. But I can't just copy the mascot hi-hat in here right now because they have the same name. It will just replace it. So I'm just gonna rename this one real quick, and we'll bring the mascot one in over. And I'll just rename this one to like mascot hi-hat, and then I'll give this back to its regular name. So yeah, general note for mascots: the jersey, hair tangent, shoe, and even though this mascot doesn't have it, some other mascots have it, the shorts file, all of those you want to put in the PNG. And now for the hair files, you don't need to edit anything about them, like they're already set. The jersey file, you're going to want to rename that to chest. And the same with its TXTR file. And as I showed before with the face file, you want to go in Notepad and edit it like this. Just changing the J to chest. And then for the shoe file, you want to go and change this to legs color instead of shoe color. And it's the same process as you did with the chest. This. Save. So now, this is a crucial part of mascot editing, and it's editing the hi-hat scene. This is what gets the mascot to work. This is what a lot of people mess up on. Like, I had people in Discord asking me for help with this. They had a Pacer mascot with an invisible head and fucked up textures. Why? Because their scene file was messed up. I had to help them with their scene file. So what I like to open both of the scene files, drag out the mascot one, and if you remember, this hi-hat scene file, this is Kevin Love's hi-hat scene file. Like, this is what we had originally in Kevin Love's PNG. You'll see there's all this stuff. Like, don't be overwhelmed by this. Like, all this, it just controls what's going on with the player. For the mascot hi-hat, you want to find where this model line starts. From the very start of it, find this model line. Just drag all the way down to the very end. Copy it. Then come over to the NBA players hi-hat scene that you have in here in the PNG. Find that same model line from the very start, highlight it, go down, and you want to paste in this mascot info into here, just like that. Now we are not done yet. You want to scroll right up, find this prim section. There are a few things in here that you have to rename and change. And on the screen in the Discord, like files provided for this that list what you need to rename for mascots. The body mat, you will always need to rename this to face_shader. The jersey mat, you always need to rename this to arms_shader. These names like correlate with what you renamed these files to. So like arm shader, that correlates to chest color. For shoes, since we changed shoes to legs color, shoes becomes legs shader. Body mat is face shader again. If the same one like repeats, like body mat or any of them, you just change them to the same name. So body mat still face shader. Hair, well, fur_mat, that becomes the hair shader, of course. And then this skate mat, these are the roller skates that are under the mascots in the actual game. Like when you play like an NBA game, you just change these to armpit hair shader, and you change the count to 0. And then you're done with the scene file. And you just close out of both of them now. You can get rid of the mascot hi-hat scene now. Now all you gotta do is put the files in the IFF. Just drag them in, put the face ones in the face IFF, and the PNG one, same thing. Take all of the PNG, put it in there, exit out, and now you can just bring these files to Wagua. Of course, it's gonna say that I already have files there because I've already made Spurs mascot, but you put them in Wagua, and now we need to go in the game and see if these changes were made, like the mascot was ported over correctly, if we don't need to fix anything. I'll showcase like how you get the mascot onto the player. There's two different methods. Most people use Lamono. It's like the simplest, I guess. I do mine a different way, but I'll still show the Lamono way first. So we'll just go over to create a player. You see, yeah, it's regular create a player face. We're gonna open up Lamono here, and you have to click this My Career button, and then type in the ID, which remember for Kevin Love was 1511, and then come over to Lamono, just change some about the player, and bam, you see the mascot will pop up. And you want to just look around, make sure everything's okay. Obviously, since we didn't blank out like the creator player jerseys or anything, or their shorts, so you're going to see the jersey through there. But as I mentioned before in the clothes part of this tutorial, you put them on like one of those 1990 or before teams, and the clothes will disappear. Yeah, the mascot looks good. Looks like everything ported over correctly. Real quick, I'll show the other way and how I like to put the cyber faces on instead. And close out Lamono here. I like to use Cheat Engine. And later on in this tutorial, we will be going over Cheat Engine in depth. But for now, I'll just show, like, I'll show this part again in this tutorial later. So you'll see we have the creator player here. We're going to go over to graphic ID, and we're going to find Kevin Love's name. And same thing as the model, just make a hair change, or not even a hair change, just be anything. And then bam, the mascot's there. Now, I prefer using Cheat Engine to do this just because I use Cheat Engine for other things on this game. This is what I'm used to using to change the cyberface ID, but you don't have to use it. Use Lamono. Lamono is simpler to use. That's why most people use it. And then quickly, like, I'll just show the roster. Put them on one of these teams in the 90s. Where did I put Spurs? Yeah. You'll see now the clothes are going and out the way. On the general recommendation for the mascots too, you want to be wearing no socks, and you want to be using a shoe file that is blanked out. Like as you see here, like he has on no shoes. You just want to use a shoe file that's blanked out. Those are in the Discord. You can find them in the Discord. Pretty much wraps up that part of the mascot. But now I'll go into depth on the mascots that require Blender editing. Okay, so this Heat mascot, for example, you can see in here, he has hair, he has a jersey, he has shorts, and he has shoes. For NBA cyber faces, there are only so many like files that you can use in that PNG file. And for mascot like these that have both hair, jersey, shorts, and shoes, there just simply aren't enough files. But there's a way to combat this, which I will show. So if we come over to the Heat mascot, as you can see, the legs color file it's the shoes and the shorts together. And just to show you, like, these files aren't together to begin with. Like, they're split apart. So you can see, like, here's the shorts file, here's the shoe file. Now here I'll show I made a template here. Joser mascot 2K mascot leg shoes template, which I'll open up. I made a template that automatically puts them in this format, like that puts the shoes and the shorts in the format. It's super easy to use. All you have to do, put the shorts file in here. It'll automatically put the shorts file on the bottom, evenly cut in half and everything, like perfect placement. And then come over to the shoes file, you put the shoes file in here and do the same thing. And I will say, like, you'll see, like, all the teams are here. When I release this template, not all the teams are going to be in here just due to, like, the file size. Like, the file size of this template right now is under 60. But, like, you can get the team files yourself from just exporting them in the game using the Explorer. We'll come back to this template when we need to put the shorts and the shoes file in here. To show us an example, I'll do the Wizards mascot, right? Which is very similar to the Heat mascot. As you'll see, like, I already exported out the file from Explorer and everything. I already chose an NBA player. I want to do OJ Mayo. As we'll see, like, it's another fat ass mascot. He got a jersey. He got a goddamn shorts file, shoes, hair. So it's the perfect mascot to showcase this. Same as what I showed before. We'll make a folder, name it like Converted Wizards. Open this in a new window. So once again, we have everything set up to port the mascot file over. Like I explained for the last mascot, for the first mascot. Just for the tutorial's sake, I'll go over some of the stuff again. Like for the face, it needs to be the same as the NBA player's face file name. Just go over, copy and paste this in. I messed up. Make sure you do not have this shit say .dds twice. The file will not read. Face underscore color. Edit the notepad again, of course. Like, you get the gist. And something that I forgot to go over, you can use this preset hi-hat file I made for the mascots. You still need to convert, like, the mascot hi-hat file over into it, but you don't need to use the NBA player's hi-hat scene file. Like, I just showed that on the Spurs one, just to show, like, a general, just like where you got the scene file from. Like, if that makes sense. So, but it's not you. You just use this preset one I made. It works for every mascot. I literally used it to make every mascot. So, take the hair files, take shorts, shoe. We don't need to take the shoe texture file. Since we're merging the shoe and the shorts together, we only need one of the texture files, which we'll just take the shorts one. And of course, player model file, hi-hat model file, and then the mascot hi-hat scene. Okay, so we get to renaming these. You're just going to want to make one of them like legs at first. And their texture file legs. And of course, go on Notepad, edit this to legs. We want to go and open up the template that I made. We have the template open. Open the shorts smart object. Open import shorts here. And here is where you would put in the shorts file from right here. Like, you put in this Wizards shorts file. Put it in here. Click yes. Want to save changes? Yes. If in game, the shorts file, if it's too dark, like relative to jersey, I do have a brightness filter right here that you can apply. Make it brighter. But for the Wizards, it's not needed. from what I remember. So then we're gonna come over to shoes and once again do the same thing as you did with the shorts. Like, it's pretty self-explanatory, I'm not gonna lie. You have the Wizards shoes file that's right here, like already have in the template. Save, and then you'll see now the file is already made. You just have to save it. We're gonna go to save as. You want to go change it to Intel Texture Works. Come over to the PNG and take the name of the file. Use the same name of the file for legs. Save. These are the settings that I use. You can use some of like the better options up here. The only thing is when you go into Blender, like you'll need to use this file in Blender as a reference. It won't show up if you use one of these other ones. That's why I just like to use this one. And then you click OK. And as you'll see, it's here now. You can now delete this shoe file. Doesn't matter. Close out of the template. And now we just gotta make the hi-hat changes. Once again, we open up hi-hat scene. This is the mascot one. This is the one we'll actually be using. You gotta make sure that we rename it. Matter of fact, just for like y'all's sake, I don't want to confuse y'all. We'll just make this mascot hi-hat. Yeah, there we go. We're gonna do the same thing. Model, copy, model, copy. Now pay attention here. I'll go over what you need to do. Since now we have like the shoes and the shorts merged. It's mostly all still the same thing. Body mat, that becomes face. Hidden shader, that becomes face. Shorts.mat, since this is now a part of the legs file, this is going to become legs. And I'll probably have something in the video or maybe a part of the file in Discord that goes over this, but for shorts, for other mascots, if there's no like hair file or if there's no like shoes file, you can just, yeah, if there's no hair file but there's shorts, you could just make the shorts hair and you would make it hair shader. And then if there's hair but no shoes, you could just make the shorts legs and keep it as leg shader. Then the jersey, that's arm shader. The shoe, that's still going to be leg shader, of course. The body mat, that's still going to be face shader. Fur mat, that's always going to be hair shader if it's there, of course. And then the skate mat, armpit shader with the count to 0. And there, now the hi-hat is made again. You close out of it. Get rid of this mascot one. And now, this is where Blender comes in. And what I'd like to do in advance, just make a file for Blender export. So you want to open a Blender, and I will have the version of Blender that you need linked in the description. Is Blender 2.79a, as well as a tutorial to installing the plugin needed for Blender. Like, I'm just not going over that in this tutorial, I'm sorry, but don't worry, I will have a tutorial link below showing you how to install the plugin for this, because it is a specific plugin you need for 2K files. But anywho, after you have like all that installed, or you may already have it installed, you're gonna start off by just double clicking A to select everything. Then click delete on your keyboard to get rid of all this. We're gonna come down to, I believe, this right here, yeah. And you wanna find the 2K importer panel plugin. You wanna come click this little thing right here. It's basically a file browser. You wanna go to your mascot file that you were working on. Go to the original mascot export. Make sure you do that. That's crucial. and find the hi-hat scene in there. And now you want to click import and zoom out by scrolling with your mouse button, and you will see here we have this fat ass Wizards mascot. Now what we need to do, change this to edit mode, come over to this little triangle looking thing here. See, we have the vertex groups. And if you notice, these are the same names from the scene file, like mascot jersey shape, mascot head shape, all that stuff's from the scene file. You're gonna want to just click A to unselect all of this. You want to come to this top right corner, just hold and drag out right here, make another panel. Click this little thing right here, is that little cube. You want to click UV/image editor, and then you want to select your shorts and your shoe shape right here. You see, they're selected. Now we're gonna work on one at a time, but both of these we will be editing them. So deselect the shoe one for now, and then we have the shorts. So with the files I provided, I did provide UV maps that are already made that you can use as reference for these mascots. So how we bring them up on this screen is by clicking open image and then going over to where those images are, and I think I have it saved under fat. So now you see we have the image in the background. But if you don't have, for whatever reason, just don't have access to these UV images I provided, you can go to the texture you exported, the legs, like from the template. You can go there, and you could just use this as reference as well. But I feel like it would be easier if you just use the UV map image, but it's up to you. So now what you want to do, you want to fit the UV map of the shorts into here. Like, you're gonna have to squish it down and all that. You're gonna have to push the scale down, how I do here. I like to push it down to about like 600, like that's the start, and move it down. As you see, it's still a little too big. To go and scale it down some more. Move it down again. Scale it down some more. Seems like we may need to move it up a little bit. Move it up probably about 10, 20, no. 12 seems pretty good. We could zoom in. Seems like we need to go up just a little bit more. That looks pretty good. Now you have the shorts done. Now you can unselect the shorts. Now we need the shoe. And if it removes the image, that's fine. Just go select it again. Do the exact same thing we just did for the shorts to the shoes. It doesn't have to be perfect, by the way, but I just like it being perfect. Like, I like adjusting it to be perfect, but it doesn't have to, like, don't have it be like beyond messed up. I don't have it looking like no shit like this, bro. But like, if it's something like this, like, it's good. It'll be fine. It'll read the textures just fine. But I like it to be almost perfect. If you want to select like just like one of the individual ones, you just click C, make a big ass circle and do this. Pretty easy. Now put the shorts up as well. You can see, you know, they fit pretty well. You can even go in, add your legs image in here to see how it fits. And you know, it looks like it fits pretty well. And then if you want to save the UV, you just go to export UV layout, and you always have that UV. I mean, I already exported out all the UVs for the mascots that need them. I already have those provided in the template and in the description, but you can still export them out if you want to, of course. And after that, you're done with like the UV mapping part. If you want to look at the texture on the mascot in Blender, you would just come over to this little ball right here, click texture, and then you can go into object mode, and you can look at the texture like applied real time. And as you can see, like it applied perfectly. And this is how it will look in game, obviously without the blue shit on them. But yeah, that's how the texture will look applied in game. Now you just want to drag that out, like close that. You want to come over to this section right here, and you want to make an export path. Remember, we made a Blender export path already, so we'll just go to that right there, Blender export. You're not supposed to rename it anything. Just click accept. What I like to do, I like to save the blend before I export. I'm not even sure if this is needed. It's just what I like to do. Name it Wizards Blend. Then export it out. And what this will do, when you click export, it will export out the model file. And what you do with this model file, you just copy it, come over to PNG, paste it in here. We can actually close out of Blender now. We now have everything that we need for this mascot to work. Just like with the with the Spurs mascot I showed. You just put them in the IFF files now. Okay, now we put our files in the PNG in the face. We can put them in Wagua. And now open up our game, and we're just gonna apply the Cyberface ID now, like how we did for the Spurs mascot. I'm gonna use CEngine, but choose Lamono if you prefer that. I feel like most people prefer Lamono anyway. It's just simpler. Like, that's not what I recommend, but I just like using CEngine for it. Alright, change that boy here. You see, we got this big ass bird. And look at the textures. You see, they apply perfectly. Now, probably wondering, like, what happens if I don't use these UV maps? Like, what happens if I don't edit the UV maps of the mascot? It's just gonna be a fucked up texture. Like, the shoe gonna be all over the shorts and all that. Like, it's shit gonna be unusable, bro. So that's why it's a necessity to do this for mascots that have the jersey, hair, shoe, shorts all together. And then of course, you know, you come over here into your roster, you'd move them to a team that has their jersey and shorts blanked out, and there you go. I guess one thing I'll go over quickly. Some mascots like Georgetown, for example, you know, in their PNG, They might only have one thing. That's fine. Like if they only have a shoe file, that's fine. Just make it legs color and you're good. You don't need the other stuff. Or some like Yukon, for example. I think I went over this already, but you'll notice Yukon has a jersey in shoes, in shorts, but no hair. That's fine. Just put the shorts on the hair and then the high head scene file. We scroll down, get to the prim where the short shape are. You can just make that the hair shape. I feel like I already said that earlier, but just wanted to go over it again just to be sure that people knew that. Yeah, that's everything with the mascots. That's how you make the mascots, convert them, do the UV maps for them, everything. Okay, so in this section of the tutorial, we'll be going over Jumpshot Landings, how I made the Jumpshot Landing file for NBA 2K16. Now, I will say this right now, for using the Jumpshot Landings in the game, I recommend you just download the files instead of making them, because it is kind of a tedious process. Files be in the Discord. But for the purposes of the tutorial, I will show like how I did it at least. So first, you need to find where your NBA animations file is in Manifest. On patch 0, I know it's in OB, but I'm on patch 6, so it's in 2Z for me. You'll need to use the Explorer to extract that out. And once you extract it out, you'll be needing some files from it. So we'll go ahead and just look in real quick. I recommend sorting by name. First, you need the actual park Jumpshot Landings. So here they are, 2K15 park freefall, and all the way from 1 through 30. That's all of them. And you don't need the underscore M ones. Just get the ones that end in dot single mocap, not the ones that have underscore M. You don't need those. So you want to export those out. See, I already have them exported out here. And then here's a list as well. I did not make this list. I don't know who made this list. Whoever worked on the 2K17 ones, they're the ones that made this list. So credit to them. I don't know who made it though. And after you have those exported out, I'm gonna scroll down and find the NBA 2K16 freefall files. So here they are right here. 2K16 freefall shooter. These are like the regular freefall animations. Like when you shoot the ball. You just want to go and extract all these. Once again, you don't need the underscore M1s. You see the ones that end in dot single mocap after their number, like no underscore M. You don't need those. When you export those, like I'd recommend like having everything in a separate folder. You know, that's what I did. You can see 119 items, and then obviously since it's 119 files, like you don't want to have to rename those like single hand. Like that's gonna take forever. So I just made a bat script that does it. You need to see it. Edit notepad. This just says every file in this folder, which is all of the freefall animations, replace it with this one single file in here, which is Jumpshot Landing, and run that bat and it'll replace all of them. And then after it replaces all of them in here, you would just copy all of them, head over to your NBA animations file, and you put them in here, replacing the old files. And then you'd put your NBA animations file in Wagyu or modded, and you would have the Jumpshot Landings. Like I said, like I was just showcasing this for tutorial purposes. Like if you want the Jumpshot Landings, just download them. Like it's kind of a tedious process, but I know there might have been people interested in like how they were made. This is how they were made. I did make like these more consistent, by the way. For the people that are downloading the file and had downloaded like the old Jumpshot Landings, I did make a consistency update. Originally, when I posted Jumpshot Landings, like it was just like a tutorial, like how to make them. Then I believe it was NF. He went and made all of them into an NBA animations file, but back then, like the Jumpshot Landings, they weren't as consistent. Like certain bases they wouldn't work with, or just sometimes like they wouldn't happen. Like especially if you play on a higher difficulty. But with this one, like they happen with more bases. Like they happen more consistent now. Like you can even time it poorly on Hall of Fame using LA jump shot, and you can still get a jump shot landing. So this consistency update, it will be in the Discord. In the last section of this tutorial, we'll be going over cheat engine and the power of it on this game. There's so much you can do. You can use this to change the colors on the Blacktop scoreboard for like the park colors and all that. Like you could change it to the sunset colors or because any color you want. You can use it to change team names in the roster, change the logos, like everything. Like I'll be showcasing all of that in this section of the tutorial. But first, we gotta give credit to the person that made all of this possible over at NLC forums. MyNameIsDirty. He's the one that made these cheat engine tables for 2K16. So shout out to him. I'll have a link in the description to the thread and the download for all of this. One thing I will note, as I said, being in a video, you do need patch 6 for these tables to work. They were made on patch 6, so you need a patch 6 version of the game for these tables to work. But trust me, it's well worth it. Upgrading to patch 6, as I already mentioned, beginning of the video. Now let's get into showcasing what these tables can do. I will say that specifically in this tutorial, I will only be going over STADIUMData, TEAMDATA, and the edit player cheat table. But a lot of the things that I mentioned about these tables, like you can use for some other tables, like it might correlate with some of the other tables. So I got my game up here. As you can see, I have a ton of rosters made. One of the great things you can do with these tables is you can assign parks to a roster. So instead of having to like keep swapping your S616 file in Whitewood, like you don't have to do that. You can just assign it to a roster. And if you want to play on Rivet, just load up the Rivet roster. If you want to play on Old Town, you can just load up the Old Town roster, and so on and so forth. And then you'll notice as well, I have like 3 different types of the park rosters. Like it'll be like versus Sunset versus Old Town. This is for the scoreboard colors. So like if I load up this Rivet versus Sunset roster and take it to Blacktop, it'll have Rivet as the home team with like blue colors, and then the away team will be Sunset with Sunset colors and Sunset logo and all that. That's another thing too. You can control like the Blacktop logos in here, so you don't have to use Explorer to swap them out. You can just load up the roster, and you load up Sunset versus Old Town. It'll be Sunset versus Old Town logos. Rivet versus Rivet. It'll be 2 Rivet logos. You know, on and so forth. And by the way, all of these rosters, like the Mascot Sunset Park versus Sunset all the way down to Mascots NCAA, I'll be posting them in the Discord for you to use. See, it has all the mascots on the team, and then it already has like Sunset, Rivet, Old Town teams created, and you can just put your custom players on there, of course. But yeah, these rosters will be in the description. They already have the logos done in Blacktop, all the colors and everything. So we're gonna start on a fresh roster. When making edits with Cheat Engine, I recommend making the game windowed, so you don't have to keep alt tabbing out. Like if you're doing like huge edits, like editing the whole roster and all that, like be changing logos, team names, all that, I recommend just having it windowed. Like I guess if you're just going to like change like one side of your face or something, you can stay in full screen. But if you're editing roster, I recommend making it windowed. Okay, to start, you just want to hook Cheat Engine into the game, and then click this little folder right here, find where you extracted out the Cheat Engine tables. For now, we'll start off with the team data table. In this table, it just controls like everything about every single team in the roster, like even the hidden teams, the blacktop teams, the college teams, every single team. Even though the park teams, like you can even find Rivet's info in here. So how you use this cheat table, TEAMDATA, and also like the other data tables like STADIUMDATA, there will be like a little tab here, and it'll say edit to find other teams or edit to find whatever, like depending on the cheat table you're looking for. You just double click the address right here, and as you'll see, it'll be this times 0. This number right here, 0, that's like what you use to find what team you're looking to edit. So 0 right now, that's the regular 76ers team. If we do 2, it'll take us to the Bulls right here. So you just use that to select the team you want to edit. And this goes by hexadecimal numbers. So since it uses hexadecimal numbers, if you go up from 9 to 10, instead of going to the Jazz, it's gonna skip over and go all the way to the Nets, which is quite a few teams forward. So instead of 10, you would go to A. This extends out from A all the way to F before it starts back at the numbers again. As you can see, F was the Mavericks and 10 is the Nets. Here's a pretty good photo showcasing this. Like as you'll see, the 10th team ends up becoming A, 11th becomes B, so on and so forth. You're probably wondering, like, okay, after 9, you go to A, but what happens after 19 or 29 or so on and so forth? Like, does the same logic apply? Of course it does. You would just be replacing the 9 with A instead. And so on and so forth. And then it goes to F too. Like, this is also A to F. So wherever you are in the team search, after 9, you go to A instead of going to like the next number and like the regular number system. So as I mentioned in this tutorial, the teams that are like early 90s and before, those are the teams that use the blanked out files that we made earlier in this tutorial when we were talking about the clothes. Like these Cavaliers, for example, you see there's no jersey, no shorts. This is so you can wear the clothes or their mascot freely without any of that stuff getting in the way. Of course, you can edit these teams as well in TEAMDATA. So the Cavaliers, they're like somewhere in like this 5 range. Yeah, they're 5C. And you could edit pretty much everything about them. See, change their name, anything. That's how in the files that I was showing earlier, like you seen add team name, NBA mascots, Sunset Beach Ballers, all that. This is how it's done. Okay, one thing you'll notice is that you may have like changed the name, but they still have this, like the year prefix. And easy way to get rid of that is by scrolling all the way down over till you find type and just change it to normal, and it disappears. And this is what I did for all the all-time teams I edited, like for Sunset, Rivet, all of that. The mascots. That's what I did to get rid of that. I forgot to mention that earlier, I'm sorry. So if you wanted to change the logos, in here you would just change the file name to the logo that you want to use. So for example, Rivet is 902, so you would change the name of this from logo 555, the logo 902, and you'll see in the background. Changes to the Rivet logo. And if you don't know the names, or not the names, let's say the numbers of the logo, like, it's okay, because when you change to that team in here, like example, Rivet's in the 90s. So as you can see right here, like, it'll tell you what the name of their logo is. And if you really want to, you would click in this box, which what this box does in Cheat Engine, if you don't know, is whatever value's in here, it will keep it no matter what. So long as this box is checked, it will keep this value no matter what. So you bring it over to another scene. We'll go back to the Cavs. You'll see it immediately changes its logos to Rivet just off of that. You do the same thing with the team color. This is how you change the color for the Ringers and the Ballers and Blacktop to the park colors. We'll get into that right now, actually. So you want to go and find the Ringers, the Ballers, which I'll just let you know now. The Ballers are 7C and Ringers are 7D. And it's just self-explanatory. You would put the team color of the park that you want into team color 1, and that's the color that will showcase. So just say we'll go over to 92, which is sunset. If I want sunset green for the Ballers, we'll just click in the little box here. We'll go 7C for Ballers, and you'll see it changed the color to sunset. And then we go 91 for Old Town. We want the Old Town red to be the Ringers color. So 7D. And now the Ringers have Old Town's color. And then, you know, we might as well do the logos too while we're here, just to showcase. I should have just checked the box on the logos while I was at Old Town, but oh well. So, ones. I was about to give them sunsets on accident. I got them mixed up. And then honestly, it's just quicker to check in the box and then transfer them over to a team than typing them in, but we're already here, so let's type them in anyway. And then go ahead and save the roster. I should have changed the secondary logo too. I'm not sure like how much that matters, but I'll go back and change it just in case. Come over. Got the Alamano activated. Of course, you go over to your roster and back out of it. Go to Blacktop and you see the logos are there, of course. Now the team names, those are controlled by a file in English.iff. To change the team names, you have to hex edit that file, which I will show after this cheat engine portion. But right now, I just have a file in that says my team versus opponent. Obviously, like when it's a park, different park versus park matchup, it'll be like Flyers versus Ballers, or if it's versus Rivet, Flyers versus Rough Riders. But I don't have that file in right now, so it's gonna say my team versus opponent. But as you can see, the colors are changed. This is the same tutorial roster. And since we're on the default Blacktop, I'll showcase now how to change the park on the roster. Okay, so we're back at the roster. I will now show you how to assign a park to a roster. using these cheat tables. So this requires the stadium data cheat table, and when it asks you, do you want to merge current table, just click yes. It'll put it below here and close out of this table right now. And also, if you want to make space, you just click expand table range, and it will make more space. I should have showed that at the beginning, but oh well. And for the stadium data, like I said, it's the same thing as the team data as far as like finding them, although the IDs are different. So just because I do 5C on team data to find the Cavaliers team that are showcased, it doesn't mean that they're gonna pop up here. Like you see my team. So the stadium IDs are different, like in terms of searching their address in here, but that's okay. So for general reference, the Blacktop is 5D in stadium data. You'll see here there's file name, and oh, another thing that I love about this, you can change the ball through here, so you don't have to use a ball file. So in this case, we'll just change it to like a sunset ball, for example. You can find it. I'm blind, this shit right here. You can change the net in here as well, and of course, when you change the net, it will have the net sound. So that's what I like about that. You don't have to use any extra files for these or anything. To change the actual Blacktop, of course, you could just do the way that everyone does with the Wagua, renaming a park file to S616. But what I like to do in my Wagua, I like to put a park file on the file name of like that actual park. So like S904 in the actual game, that's the real Sunset Park. So I'll take like a Sunset 2's court that someone made, and I'll name it to this. And then in Cheat Engine on the roster, like if it's a Sunset roster, I'll just go over to S904 and make it Sunset Beach Park, and then vice versa for the rest of the parks. So that way you can have multiple parks like on different rosters by doing this, instead of just having it on one file in S1 or S616 and having just to swap that file. By doing this, you can have the parks on multiple different files. So after you made the changes that you want, of course, you would just click save roster again and load Lamona back up. I don't even know why I closed it on first, but it's like all I had to do was just disable the roster thing. But run the roster thing again. On the Blacktop. And you'll see it now we're on the Sunset 2's court. And then just to prove, for example, that you can do this with multiple files, like have multiple files assigned to different parks, I'll just go ahead and load up like a Rivet roster. So right now, you'll see, like it still says that we're assigned to Sunset Park. I'll go to this Rivet roster right here. And now it's assigned to Rivet, and if I use Lamono, go to Blacktop, you see a double Rivet. And you see now we loaded into a Rivet tools court. Ignore the my team and opponent being in the wrong places for this file. This is because I was using a file for the antidote, which I could just showcase here too. Notice as you see my menu changed, you can change the menu court as well with Stadium Data. It lets you know that the address for the menu court is 8C. And what I like to do, like I know it says Celtics here, I just replaced the Celtics court with Rivet. Whatever roster file I made, like for that part, like Antioch, Sunset, whatever, I like to make the menu that same part as well. So we'll just load the Antioch file because I was already loading it up in the first place. Obviously, it doesn't change off rip, like it only changes when you come back to the menu. But you'll see we have the Antioch. We'll use the mascots to showcase. As you see, we have the Antioch court here now, and we have the my team versus opponent thing with the Antioch purple color and everything. You know, when we back out, the menu will be Antioch because I made the menu court Antioch on this file. You see, yeah. That's the general gist of how STADIUMDATA works. Ooh, now I'll be going over the edit player table. For the edit player table, just use my test roster. Once again, you want to load up the cheat table. When I ask this, you just click no, and then edit player table. And how this works is when you go to edit a player, all of their information will pop up here. You have to obviously click edit player. Like, you can't just be hovering over them in the menu. Like, you have to click edit player in the game. And what's great about this is you can edit pretty much anything about the players here. So we'll just go over the Suns Gorilla, for example. I showcased this earlier in the mascots tutorial, but you can change their cyber face in here. You can change their name. You can change like their accessories, their wingspan, attributes, their signature styles, all of that. And a cool thing I want to show with the signature styles here, using this table, you can get park dunks. I'll show an example, like these aren't selectable in here. Like these aren't park dunks, these are the sprite dunks right here. You see that park dunk I just had on the Skywalker, like I can't select it, but come over here into the cheat engine. You select one of the Blacktop dunks. Yeah, you select the Blacktop dunks and you'll see we have it here. That's how you get park dunks. And another cool thing I want to show that is very useful actually. This is how I pretty much like made these rosters here, like with all these mascots. You notice how they all have like the same ratings and everything. It's one of my favorite things of this table, and we'll just showcase it with GWiz, is the player cloning. As I showed before, just click in the box for both player cloning and this appearance thing. This like the appearance data of the player, and we'll just go over to Patrick Ewing, and you'll see he'll become the Wizards mascot. Have all of his attributes, his name, everything. So that's very useful for when you're trying to just make like a bunch of 99 overall players and put them on a roster or something like this. Like that comes in very useful. And of course, you uncheck it, you know, it disables it. But that's pretty cool. And when I say copy everything, it will copy everything. The SIGs, their wingspan, all of that. Everything will be copied. And speaking of the wingspan here, I'll check this off that real quick. That's one of my favorite ones in here. You can make this shit like some outrageous shit. And may not showcase at first. Go back in. You know, he has long ass arms. It's pretty cool. And you can do this to make some pretty like funky players. Like this is my signature right here, this player right here. You see. And in game, like a player like this, like he can't even move. Like he would just be sitting there glitching. It's pretty funny to see in the actual game. Yeah, that's pretty much it with the cheat tables. I feel like I showcased everything that I used in these rosters. Download the tables, have fun with them. Once again, shout out to MyNameIsDirty on the NLSC forums for making these tables. They're very fun to use. They make rosters. And now I guess I'll go over the English file, like hex editing the English file to change the Blacktop name for the teams. Okay, so real quick, we'll be going over how to change the team names for Blacktop. You will need a hex editor program. I like to use this one right here, HXD, but use any hex editor program. This is one I like to use. And in Explorer, you will need to export out English.iff and then also scorebugstreet, which for me is in 2S on patch 6. It might be in a different place on like an earlier patch, but this is where it is for me. You'll need to export both of those out. And in English IFF, we specifically need this one file that is called text localized data. You can find right here. This is what controls the team names. So what you want to do with this file, drag it into hex editor, and for the patch 6 version of this file, I have the name locations listed. For ringers, you would just copy this, Control G. This is the offset it's located at, and as you'll see down here, it says ringers. You would replace this with whatever park team name you want to replace with. So you want to replace it with Flyers, you'd replace it with Flyers. Like you would just type in, Flyers here. So here we have Flyers. And the Flyers name would be replacing the Ringers name in the actual game. And there's something I want to showcase. Here I'll showcase on my Rivet file where I replaced Ballers with Rough Riders. Sometimes, like for Rivet, for example, like you see the name, it can't all fit on one line. So you're gonna have to go and put the name on the second line, and there's stuff on the second line. So like right here before this said base 11, and the Rough Riders replace that. Now, to be fair, I don't know where base 11 pops up in the game. It doesn't pop up like on the animation screen. Like it goes by Jumpshot 11 or Release 11. So you don't really lose nothing from replacing that right there. But that is just something just to know. Like for team names like Rivet, it's just not gonna fit on one line. You have to go into the next line. But if you do it like how I shown, like it'll be just fine. And then once again, of course, I'm having all of these files in the Discord. So like all of these right here, Sunset, Rivet, Old Town, the my team versus my opponent ones for when you have the same park on each other. All those will be in the Discord. I just wanted to showcase how you do it in Hex Editor, like how these files are made, of course. But after you would make your edits to the text BC localized data file, you would just save it and then open up your English.iff file and drag it in there. And then you can just put your English.iff file in your Wagua folder and you would have the team names changed. Now I would like to go Now I would like to go over scorebugstreet.iff. This is for when you were using the my team versus opponent names, and you'll notice how like my team it will be in white text and opponent will be in black text. You need to go and change the scene file in this .iff to reflect that. And the scene file you'll be changing is street scorebugtext.scene. And we'll come over here and edit in Notepad. So in this file, you just are finding the text color, which is down here. Right here, we have challenger label. This is the away team. So for like if you have like Sunset v Sunset on a Sunset Park and you want to be the home team, your home team would be labeled my team, and then the away team be labeled opponent. You want the opponent text to be black. And since it's in the challenger label slot, you would make the RGB 000 like this. And then over here, the defender label, this is the home team slot, which since the my team text, that's the home team slot, you would make this 1-on-1, since 1-on-1 RGB, like in this context, would be white text. And then vice versa, if you wanted to make this one, the defender label, the home team, the black text, you'd make it 0. And the challenger label, you would make it 1-1-1, and it'd make it white text. After that, you'd save the scene file. You'd open up scorebug scene, or not scorebug scene, scorebugstreet, and you drag the scene file in there, save it, and then put it in Wagyu. That's how you change the text color of the scene files.